What is wrong with you all? People used to cower at the mention of our names. For 20 years, I have searched for a way off this island. For 20 years, they have robbed us from our revenge. Revenge on Snow White and her horrible little men. Revenge on Aladdin and his bloated genie. Revenge on every sneaky Dalmatian that escaped your clutches. And I, Maleficent, evilest of them all, I will finally have my revenge on Sleeping Beauty and her relentless little prince. Villains?
Yes!
Our day has come.
Yay!
I turned red doing that.
That was really good.
It's also 79 degrees in my house. Hey, Val.
Hey, Al.
Welcome to Deep Commentaries.
Thank you. Welcome to you and welcome to our listeners. Today, we're talking about Descendants.
Woohoo! Finally!
I know. We made it to Descendants.
We made it.
Woo!
We've been talking about this moment since like the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm. Literally since the beginning of this podcast.
Yes, where I was so excited for us to get to, this point, which is crazy. I know we talked about this, I think maybe a month or two ago. We celebrated 4 years. Mm-hmm. And looking at our schedule, pending any maybe potential summer or fall or winter breaks we may take, we've only got like a year left of this, Val.
I know. It's probably going to be pretty poetic. Like we're going to end like right around the year 5 mark.
That's going to be wild.
I know.
And really gorgeous for us.
Yeah. Now, everyone, don't worry, because we're going to still do stuff. So we're not fully leaving you.
You not being able to hear us. There will be opportunity for you to still listen to our sultry tones. Just maybe not potentially about decom specifically.
Correct.
Because once we've watched them all, you're not making me watch You Lucky Dog again, okay? So we're not
we're not starting
watching
over.
Can of Worms again. What else could we add to that list?
Some of the recent ones for sure.
Zapped. Yeah. Once we've gone through it, I don't need to do it again.
For sure. We'll see what we do with like some of the auxiliary stuff, right? Like some of the like the Even Stevens movie, or like even there's a television show, or actually 2 television shows associated with the Descendants, and like there's all these things. So who knows? Maybe we'll take dips into those areas.
But for now, you're still stuck with us.
Yeah, for at least some time still.
Yes.
So with that in mind, let's get right to the business.
Okay.
Descendants came out July 31st, 2015, so only a month after the previous movie came out.
Wow, I had just graduated college the month before.
Wow. I also realized, like, I think of this movie as being so recent, but it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel old.
Which is crazy. It's, yeah, very. Mm-hmm. And this movie was directed by none other than Kenny Ortega.
Let's go.
Kenny. Now, Kenny Ortega has done a bunch of decom stuff. He did Cheetah Girls 2 and High School Musical 2 and 3. But he started off as a music video director. So he, is in that realm. He also directed Newsies and Hocus Pocus.
Wow.
So perhaps that's how Kathy and Jimmy ended up in this movie.
That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm. And he also directs Descendants 2 and 3.
Cool.
As well.
That's good news.
Yeah, at least. Maybe more, but those are the ones I saw.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm just going to go to the fun fact right now.
Hell yeah, dude.
Before he was on board to direct Descendants, it was not a musical.
Oh.
They turned it into a musical because he came on board to direct it.
And he knows what he's doing.
Right. And my goodness, like, I'm sure it still would have been fun without being a musical, but like, they certainly wouldn't have gotten Kristen Chenoweth to be Maleficent. Like, it would have been a very different movie. And I'm very grateful that it turned out to be a musical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was very fun. It was written by Josanne McGibbon and Sarah Perriott. They are very clearly a writing team because their resumes are identical to each other. A notable thing that they did earlier in their career was they wrote Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. And they had a few other credits, but they have written basically all the Descendants stuff. Like they are the Descendants people.
They are the Descendants.
Yeah, and I think they're also executive producers. So they're like the people in the Descendants verse. The cast is as follows. This is a big cast, so apologies in advance.
Okay.
Dove Cameron plays Mal, who's Maleficent's daughter.
Al, Val, and Mal.
Oh my God.
Wow. Look at
that. Amazing. You might recognize Dove from Cloud 9.
Mm-hmm. Great movie.
Yes, we both enjoyed Cloud 9. She played the female lead in that. She is in at least the next couple Descendants movies. She was also on Liv and Maddie. She was in Dumplin', Schmigadoon, Big Nate, and a number of music videos as she is a singer.
And she's currently in commercials for blonde hair dye.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm pretty sure that's her.
Oh, maybe. I have no idea. I believe you, though.
Thank you.
And also, she's so beautiful in this movie.
Oh, gorgeous.
Like, it's not that in Cloud 9, I was not thinking like, oh, she's an uggo, but like, she's
no,
just
but the
so,
purple
like,
and like the pink
and
with her when she gets the blush
eye makeup,
and when her eyes turn green, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's just a beautiful, beautiful person.
Yeah.
Cameron Boyce played Carlos, who is the son of Cruella De Vil. Mm-hmm. He was in the Grown Ups movies. He was on Jessie, Gamer's Guide to Pretty Much Everything. He was in the first 3 Descendants movies. He was in Mrs. Fletcher and Paradise City. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2019.
Yeah, that was really sad. I remember that hitting the community very hard. Everyone was really moved by that.
Yeah, he was a very liked person and he was clearly working, like some of this stuff has come out posthumously for him. Mm-hmm. And, he had a bright future ahead of him. And so it's very sad. Well, sorry to move on from that sad topic, but we do.
Yes.
Boo Boo Stewart, which is the best name ever. Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, I looked it up. I found out his real name.
Oh, what is Boo Boo's real name?
Boo Boo's real name is Nils, I think it's Nils, so Nils Allen Stewart Jr., and he's called Boo Boo because it's a nickname that stuck with him that would distinguish him from his father, Nils Allen Stewart. Senior.
Wow. Okay. Well, he's like his professional, assuming SAG name
I hope
is
it's
Boo Boo.
That's amazing.
Which is incredible. So I love that for him. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Boo Boo played Jay, who is the son of Jafar. He was in the Twilight movies. He was also in the first 3 Descendants for sure. And he was more recently in Good Trouble.
Cool. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Sophia Carson played Evie. She is also in the first 3 Descendants movies. And she was in Pretty Little Liars Perfectionists, which I assume is some kind of spinoff.
I believe that was this year. Like they did a Pretty Little Liars spinoff and it was either last year or this year.
Okay, cool. I liked her a lot too.
Yeah, she was great.
She was really lovely. Mitchell Hope played Ben. He didn't really have any notable credits beyond Descendants. So yeah. Ben is the son of the Beast and Belle. I don't remember what the Beast's actual name is.
They just kept calling him Beast, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, in the movies, it's Adam. But I don't know that it was Adam in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think they ever said it.
And I was wondering, I was like, man, this guy's, his R's are weird. He's saying R's weird. And I was like,
oh, is he British?
He's Australian.
That's why I didn't recognize any of the stuff he was in. Well,
and he
did a pretty good job.
1 million followers on Instagram.
Wow.
Descendants. Well, the Descendants money is working for Ben Hope.
Yeah.
Mitchell Hope.
For sure. Mitchell Hope. Yeah. Yeah. At first I was sort of like, does this guy suck at acting? But then he got it together. I felt like as the movie went on.
LOL.
Yeah. And he's that conventionally handsome guy, which is
Yeah,
what they needed
he's a
for that
cutie.
role. He did a good job.
Yeah.
Melanie Paxson played Fairy Godmother. She's a character actor. She's been in lots of stuff, but she was in Happy Family, Notes from the Underbelly, Saving Mr. Banks. And she's in like all the Descendants stuff.
Cool.
Brenna D'Amico played Jane, who is her daughter. And she was in Descendants 1 through 3. I didn't really see any other notable credits. Sarah Jeffrey played Audrey, who is the daughter of Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. She was also in Descendants 1 through 3. She was in Wayward Pines, Rogue, Shades of Blue, the new Charmed series, and she did voice for Lego Dreams with like 3 Z's at the end. Zachary Gibson played Doug, who is the son of Dopey.
You loved that, huh?
Yes, I did. He is also in Zapped. He plays one of the like nerdy dancers on the JV team with Zendaya.
I remember him now.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I thought he looked familiar when we saw Zapped, and I was like, And then, because I had seen, a spoiler alert, I'd seen Descendants before. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And I'm glad, like, in Zapped, he was basically a backup dancer, like with like a line maybe. I was glad to see him get to act in this because he was great.
Yeah.
And then he also got to show off his dancing skills.
Yes, he was good. He's
a very good dancer. I know. But that was fun. Like, it was cool to see, like, oh, he's good at both things.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he got a chance to shine.
Mm-hmm.
Jedediah Goodacre played Chad Charming. He also returned from Zapped. He played like that douchebag from the basketball team. And boy, was he typecast.
Yeah, I very much recognized him as the guy who did he was one of the farts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the farts. Yeah.
Visceral reaction.
I know, but like he's so perfect for this role. Like that's exactly the kind of guy that you want in this kind of part. So he crushed it. And he's in at least Descendants 1 through 4. Some of them are also in the television shows, but I didn't mark it because it was just there were so many Descendants things I like couldn't differentiate between all that. He was also in the originals, The Order, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Oh yeah, and this is the guy who was in his two most recent credits were Mary Kill and Mary.
Yes,
two totally different movies.
Shout out to him.
I know, right? Getting it, Jedediah.
That's so funny.
Diane Doan, which is another amazing name, played Lonnie, the daughter of Mulan. She is in at least the first couple Descendants. She was also
keep going.
She was also in Vikings, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Warrior, and most recently Grey's Anatomy.
That's why I gasped, Val, because I literally am watching Grey's Anatomy like right now. Like this morning, I saw her face on my my television.
So funny.
LOL, my computer. Oh my god! I gasped because as Val says their name, I follow them on our Instagram, so this is how I am seeing all of these things. But oh my god, that's crazy.
That's funny.
I think that she dates Manny Jacinto from The Good Place.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. I love him.
Power couple.
They're engaged.
They are engaged. I swiped to see a ring on her finger.
That's so cool.
That's
love
amazing.
that for them.
Yeah.
He's so funny. And she was good too. She was good in this. I thought. She didn't have a ton to do, but she was good.
Wig bad. Acting good.
Dan Payne played King Beast. So that is how he's credited in this movie. He is a pretty prolific character actor. Some notables: Stargate SG-1, R.L. Stein's Haunting Hour, Descendants 1 through 3, The Good Witch, Crank Yankers. He's a puppeteer on Crank Yankers, which I thought was really funny. And for the Gen Zers out there, there was this show, I think it was on MTV or maybe Comedy Central, I can't remember, maybe Comedy Central, where literally puppets would make crank calls, like actual crank calls. And then he's also been in like a bunch of like Hallmark Christmas movie type things. So he's working. Keegan Connor Tracy played Queen Belle. Definitely was distracted by how little she made me think of Belle in any way, but otherwise she was fine, whatever. She's also a character actor. She was in Final Destination 2, 40 Days and 40 Nights, Once Upon a Time, and The Magicians, along with being in Descendants 1 through 3.
For anyone who watched Once Upon a Time, she was the Blue Fairy. I watched that show.
That's cool. I did not. Wendy Raquel Robinson played Cruella De Vil. She's also a character actor. The only things that she'd been on for like a lot of episodes, she was on the Steve Harvey Show. She must have been one of the main characters because she was on like 150 episodes of the Steve Harvey Show. And then she was on The Game, which I had never heard of.
Oh, I think I watched that.
Cool.
Oh my God. She was in Miss Congeniality.
Oh, she was? I missed that one completely. We literally watched Miss Congeniality when we were in Florida.
That's
so I just saw it. It's so good. It holds up. Maz Jobrani played Jafar. I was very surprised to see him because I didn't actually realize that he did a lot of acting. What I know him from is he's a panelist on Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is an NPR like game show type thing where they always have like a panel of comedians that play games and comment on the news and whatever. And so that's what I know him from. But he is a character actor and he was also on the show Superior Donuts for quite a few episodes. So I think he was a lead on that as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that was interesting.
Cool.
Kathy Najimy played the Evil Queen. You might recognize her from Scream Team in terms of DCOMs, but you probably recognize her either from Sister Act or Hocus Pocus, which are her two most famous movies. She is also the voice in Pepper Ann. She was in Veronica's Closet, Numbers, Wally, King of the Hill, Veep, and Younger. So she's been working. I mean, she's a very
amazing,
busy lady, but I love her. Every like month, the clip of the nuns singing in Sister Act just like appears on my TikTok, and it just brings me so much joy.
You watch it, the whole thing every time.
I watch the whole thing, usually more than once. It brings me joy. And then finally, last but certainly not least, Kristen Chenoweth played Maleficent. She is first and foremost a Broadway actress. She originated the role of Glinda in Wicked. She is famous for doing that, but she also has had a television career. She had her own show, actually. I didn't realize this until I was looking at IMDb today, but she had her own show called Kristen for like a season. She was on The West Wing, which I've seen and very much enjoyed her on. She was on Pushing Daisies, and more recently she was on Schmigadoon, and then she had kind of a cameo part in the movie Wicked.
Yes. Love her.
Love her. Love her. Okay. Wow.
That's a cast. Are we finished? This is the end of the episode. It's been an hour.
Whee! Okay, the synopsis is as follows. In present day Auradon, Ben, the benevolent teenage son of King Adam and Queen Belle, offers a chance of redemption for the troublemaking offspring of Disney's classic villains, Cruella De Vil, Maleficent, the Evil Queen, and Jafar. That's actually not terrible of a synopsis. Yeah.
That's good.
Actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I already told you the fun fact, the Kenny Ortega thing. So we'll just, we'll conclude the business here.
Okay.
Al.
Yes.
What were your first impressions of this movie?
I thought you'd never ask. Thanks, Val. I had seen this movie before. I believe it was before the pandemic. I think I watched this before the pandemic because I was curious of like, everyone talks about it. I just want to watch it. So I remember liking it. I love the Disney of it. I love the lore. I love seeing more of these characters and all of them interact. Do you remember what it was called? House of Mouse?
Oh, yeah.
Where like all the cartoons would interact with one another at the theater, where like that's kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. So, and like Once Upon a Time, I watched Once Upon a Time, like loved that. So this was really fun for me. I don't know that it's my favorite DCOM, but it's still high up because it's a good movie. And it feels like not a DCOM. Like, it's still DCOM tropes, but it felt kind of like, High School Musical 1 or 2 or both, where you're like, this feels like an actual movie that was kind of like in a theater. So I'm going to give this one an 8.5.
Wow.
Yeah, because I like this movie, but I know that there's still some other movies that I like a little bit better. But it's up there. If you've never seen this movie, you gotta watch it. It's just fun. It is longer too.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I had a really good time watching Descendants. I think this is a fun movie. I think it's well cast. I think it's well written. Yeah, Val, what were your first impressions?
Yeah, so I had not seen this before, but I was looking forward to it, and I liked it. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I liked it. I appreciated it for being like it having an interesting premise, having a nice message, being like very thoughtfully written, thoughtfully performed and put together. I thought that the musical numbers were fun. It fell into a little bit of an uncanny valley sometimes with some of the like bigger set pieces, like when they were like in a big castle or like something like that. It was like very like it
Green
felt
screen.
kind of like Twitches too, like when we were complaining all the time about how it looked like a 2000s video game. Like it kind of felt a little bit like that sometimes, which could be distracting. But when it was about the relationships, when it was about like the characters, it was great. And like it's, whenever you give Kristen Chenoweth and Kathy Najimy an opportunity to just like ham it up, you're always going to have a good time. And I thought Dove Cameron really carried this as the lead. I thought she did a really great job. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And I would absolutely watch it again. Yeah, for sure.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And I liked how, even though I love a musical, I liked how it wasn't full musical all the time. And they really only sang when they needed to. I really enjoyed that. Also, fun fact that I know that Val doesn't, totally knew that was not that Australian man singing. So I looked up who the voice was.
Oh, yeah.
And the voice of Ben singing is Jeff Lewis, who was the winner of The Voice season 4.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's cool.
And I think he was in some other stuff recently too, Jeff Lewis. But you could absolutely tell that man was not singing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Awesome, Al.
Yeah.
Favorite quotes or moments?
Thank you. I didn't write down a lot of quotes. I don't know if it's
Me
because
either.
I don't know. Like, I think there were so many fun moments that I also didn't write down. I think it was just a lot of longer quotes where I'm like, I'm not gonna go back. I'm not going back.
It wasn't like a joke dense film.
Okay, and so then that might be to our reasoning of why it felt more movie than DCOM, because they weren't forcing jokes like most DCOMs. So I have a couple. I have Beast talking to his son, and he goes, I didn't make a good decision until I was at least 42. And Belle goes, you decided to marry me at 28. And Beast goes, well, it was either you or a teapot.
Also, like that whole thing is like, how old was Belle? I was like, it started tail spinning me or like into a place I didn't want to go.
Yeah. LOL. Then someone, I don't even remember who they were talking about, but they just go, oh, Carlos was like lost on the field, and the coach goes, hey you, lost boy.
I heard that too.
I like that. And then my last quote was, we don't really date much on the island. It's more like gang activity. I like that she said that. My least favorite moment is there's a point where everyone freezes, and I hate it because you just would see everyone moving. They're like, okay, everyone, and just make sure you're in a comfortable position, because you're going to have to hold it for a couple of shots, and make sure you remember where you're paused, because we're going to have to, turn around the other way. And then you just see everyone like shaking and then someone would get pushed, and they're like, I was embarrassed for them.
I know, it was awful. Like,
Awful.
What? Just film them freeze the frame and then film everybody else in front of the frozen frame. Like, what are you doing?
You made a virtual dragon and you can't freeze these people.
Seriously.
And then my favorite part of the movie is they're playing a game, which is we'll talk about a little bit later, but it's like a field hockey lacrosse mix.
Yeah.
And their mascot is a horse, and the horse has 2 front legs and 2 back legs, and it's 2 different people controlling this mascot. And it is a blink if you miss it, and I did not blink. But the back legs lifted up the person who was the front legs, so it looks like it was like up in the air. And it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I would have to go back and find that.
It is like an instant where it's literally just like lift and put down, but it is so funny. It was hilarious. So keep your eyes peeled during the match when you watch this movie.
That's so funny.
Those are my favorite times. Val, favorite quotes or moments?
Great. Thank you, Al. When Doug, I think is his name, right?
Yeah.
Doug. Yeah. The son of Dopey. When he first meets them and he sees Evie, he goes, or I think he sees both the girls. He goes, hi ho.
That was funny.
It was so funny. And then there's a moment where Carlos is on the phone pretending to be the security guard at the museum, and he's like, coming up with a cover story, whatever. Everything's fine, whatever. And then he goes at the end, he goes, say hi to the missus.
So funny.
Oh, so funny. And then this quote from Ben is such a line, but like it's also like if someone actually said that to me, I would like have at that age, I would have absolutely melted. He said, for the first time, I understand the difference between pretty and beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Whew.
Michael, are you listening? I'm going to text him.
Oh, no. And then at one point, Cruella says to Jafar, people who sell coasters shouldn't mix metaphors. She was like very low key funny.
Yeah.
And another point, actually, I also wrote this quote of her down. So Maleficent goes, I want that wand. And Cruella goes, do you? Hadn't heard.
Yeah.
Because it's literally all she
You're
talks
like,
about.
oh my God, shut the heck up.
And then lastly, I can't even remember who says this, but someone goes, bitter party of one. Mm-hmm. I think it was Kathy Najimy's character, but I can't remember for sure. And then as far as a favorite moment, so I don't know if this is like a favorite moment, but I got a kick out of, there's like a point where Mal tries strawberries for the first time.
Yeah.
And she's just like, this is the best thing I've ever had. And she's just like cramming them in her mouth, which is so funny. And then there's like a callback to it later when they're at a party and she's just like taking a bunch of strawberries. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was like a funny, like little detail that they didn't have to include, but right. I appreciated that they did. Mm-hmm. It was cute and it added to like her character and the world that they existed in where like she'd never had strawberries. Great. Al, anything else you want to talk about before we head on down to Spoiler City?
No, I've got my magic wand in hand and my top is gone.
I magicked my top off.
Whoa, you used a spell book. I used the magic wand.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
used a
think
spell book and I made a cookie.
That fully describes us. Is you book me wand.
Yep.
That's us.
Yep.
I will say that I will try to get through this quick because I know that y'all are already listening to our voices. So put me on 1.7 and we're getting through this.
Okay.
All right. Lights up on a narrator. But it's okay because she only comes back one other time. And it's like, the intro of Shrek. Where it's like you just gotta. It's the storybook. It's it's part of it. So you gotta listen to it. But
it's an iPad, which I was like, oh god, this is gonna date this movie so hard.
Yeah. And we find out that Belle married Beast, and then Beast made the United States of Auradon, which is all of the fairy tale land. But he sent all of the villains to an island with no magic, no Wi-Fi, or a way out. Then we cut from our intro to the United States of Auradon, and turning 16 is Ben, Belle and Beast's son. And once you turn 16, you become king, which they're like, this is crazy. And it's like, okay, well, you could change that, but okay. And he's like, I have an idea. I have my first proclamation that I want to do, even though I'm not king till next month, is I want some of the kids of the villains from the island to have an opportunity to come here and live and learn with us. And he's like, only a few at first. We'll do a test. And so they picked the children of Cruella, Jafar, Evil Queen, and Maleficent. So we have Cruella as Carlos, Jafar is Jay, Evil Queen is Evie, and Maleficent is Mal. So those are our 4 main villain characters. We get a musical number, Rotten to the Core, which was an awesome song. It is.
Yeah, it's a bop.
It is a great song, and they kind of go through the town, and they're rotten to the core, rotten to the I would work out to that.
Yeah, it was, and it had great choreography, and it got you to know them very quickly.
Yeah,
it was very informative.
Yeah, love that song. Then we meet their parents, and they say oh, you have this opportunity. You're going to go to this school, and they're like, we don't want to go to the school. And they're like, okay, but we have a plan. You're going to go to the school and steal Fairy Godmother's wand so that you can open up the portal, and then we can all be released from the island. We meet all the parents, and they all still kind of have their own agenda, but agree to getting the wand and getting released from the island. And Kristen Chenoweth, who is Maleficent, so I will, me, go back and forth between actor and character, gives Mel her spell book to go with her to help her out while she's out there. They get to the school, which is literally a 2-day turnaround. They're like, hey, you're going to go to the school and you have 24 hours to pack. Good luck. So we get to the school. We see Ben and Audrey, and Audrey is the daughter of Sleeping Beauty and Prince Philip. And the fairy godmother is the headmaster of the school in which they all attend. And we find out that Sleeping Beauty's daughter Audrey is dating Ben, who is Belle and Beast's son. And that we have them all meet, and they're like, hey, welcome to the school. And they do this thing where they laugh and they go, and they did it twice, and I was waiting for a third time. But I kind of liked that they were mocking the fairy tales a little bit with doing that. But you can tell there's going to be a competition between them. You can tell that her and Ben will have some sort of liking later. The feelings at this point are not zero.
Right.
And then we meet Doug, who is Dopey's son. And immediately you can tell he has a crush on Evie. And she's a little, she's smart, but ditzy.
She's been raised to be very vain.
Yes, there we go.
Because her mother is vain. So she thinks that she's supposed to be dumb to be likable by the hot guys.
Yeah.
So, and she sees nerdy Doug and doesn't get that he likes her.
Yeah, she doesn't realize it. So they get acclimated to their dorms. It feels very Wicked at this point.
Yes.
Where Evie and Mal are together, but they're in this cool room with the cool decorations and welcome to someplace you've never. It felt very Wicked.
Yeah.
And Evie uses her magic mirror, which she goes, mirror, mirror in my hand, which I thought was fun. It was her little pocket mirror to tell them where the wand is at. And we find out that it's at a museum. And they can't get in, so they sneak out of the dorm to try to go steal the wand. They can't get in. It's blocked by stuff, so they have to go around to kind of find it. And then they go into this weird room that has statues of their parents in it, which is only the 4 villains that are most important. I feel if they were we're only going to test this out, and we're going to test the 4 villains' kids that we have statues of in our basement.
Right.
It was a little okay, at least put more villains in there.
Right.
But Maleficent comes to life. She's not actually there, but it's a figment of Mal's imagination, where they sing Don't You Want to Be Evil, which is such a cute, fun, it's not technically an I Wish number, but it's like
it's almost like the opposite. It's like like a temptation.
Yeah.
Like kind of thing. Like the mom is trying to convince her to be like her.
Yeah. I mean, it's the villain song, I guess. Because it's very Mother Gothel, like entangled. But Mal at this point still kind of wants that. She's torn.
Right. She wants her mom to be proud of her and love her.
And then she like, kind of falls back into being a statue. So she wasn't actually there. They found the wand. So earlier when I said they found it, they hadn't found it yet. So they found the wand and then they try to get it, but it's blocked by some sort of magic.
Force field.
Force field. Thank you. And Jay gets zapped and an alarm goes off. But then they like run all around, try to, and they convinced the security guard to like prick his finger on the spinning wheel. And he wakes up from the alarm. And Carlos does the phone call that Val was talking about, which was so funny. And he ends with the say hi to the missus. We cut to after the next day, they get to their remedial classes taught by Fairy Godmother. So no one else has these classes. It's just we're teaching these evil kids how to be members of society because they've been taught incorrectly. So it's not like they're remedial kids. They just don't know etiquette and things like that. And we meet Fairy Godmother's daughter, Jane, who doesn't really have an awful haircut, but they're making it seem like she is like Cynthia from Rugrats with 4 total hairs. Like she's just got a bob.
I know. She's just kind of like nerdy or unsure of herself.
Yeah.
And they're very weird how they
You're
frame
like
it.
so ugly looking. And she's like not at all. So
no,
it's a little weird.
It's strange.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of looks, because of the way she dresses and her hair, she kind of looks like a doll come to life.
Like she could have played Megan in Megan.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You get it.
Yeah. Then we have Jay, who's really good at this magic version of like field hockey lacrosse.
Yeah.
And we see Chad, who, for the first time, who is Cinderella and Prince Charming's son, who gets mad that Jay is really good at the sport because he's supposed to be one of the good guys on the team. And Ben convinces all of his Auradon friends to like give them a chance. Like they're trying to fit in. We want them to like be comfortable. So this is where you kind of see that Ben's like an advocate for both sides. He's going to make a great king one day, Val.
He is.
Then Mal finds Jane. And we can see at this point, she doesn't have a lot of friends. As Val mentioned, she's really insecure. She kind of plays into that really shy, like, person. And Mal changes her hair with the spell book. So gives her these like long, gorgeous, like waves of hair. And it's kind of just like if she had regular hair and curled it. Like she got beach waves, which sure looks great. Yeah. New and fun.
No, it looks nice. Yeah.
We're then in class. We see Chad is kind of dumb. He's the Cinderella son, which, not surprising, I think, for anyone. And I wrote, this is where I'm realizing he's the fart guy from Zapped. And the teacher's kind of calling out Evie for, not really paying attention. And she goes up to the board and uses her mirror to know all the answers. So she looks super smart. And Chad is super impressed, either by her looks or is he impressed by maybe she'll do my homework? Both. But she is partners with Doug. So Doug is kind of there a lot throughout this relationship as well, kind of seeing all that happen. And Doug, once again, is Dopey's son. And he is like, you can tell he's like proud of her, but also like knows a little bit. And he's like, I think later, he's like, you don't have to, you just be you. That's later. And then Ben trains Carlos to be better at this field hockey lacrosse game. And then a dog starts chasing him. And Carlos's story is that Cruella has convinced him that dogs are bad. So he's afraid of dogs. And then, of course, it turns around that like he absolutely loves them and they love him. Next, Evie and Chad meet under the bleachers because he had like slipped her a note in chemistry class to like meet him under there. And they're like flirting and, like giving eyes at each other. And she finds out through Chad that they use Fairy Godmother's wand at coronation. So in a couple weeks, the wand will no longer be locked. And then Dopey asks her out. LOL.
The other part that happens here is Chad tells her like, oh, you're so smart. If you do my homework, then I'll maybe have some time to like hang out with you. And she's like infatuated with him. So she agrees. And then Doug shows up and he's like, you know, I'd hang out with you for nothing. You know, like you don't have to do my homework, or something like that. And she still doesn't get it.
Yeah. LOL. So then we meet Lonnie, who's Mulan's daughter. She shows up because she wants a new haircut, which bad wig, pays $50. And then she has the same hair as everyone else now, the like long waves. Ben comes to the door and he talks about the coronation because they're trying to get more information out of him. And he's like, oh yeah, the coronation's next month. Like, and Mal's like, oh my gosh, we want to stand with you. And he's like, oh no, the only people up there with me are my parents and my girlfriend. And she's like, girlfriend? So she gets the idea to make a love spell so that she can become Ben's girlfriend. They make cookies in the kitchen, which is why Val made the cookie comment earlier. And she's making a love potion and they like don't know what cookies are, and like chocolate chips. And they're like, she's like, you put chocolate chips in it. And they're like, we actually don't know what that is. We have never had a cookie. And Jay, you can tell, is starting to feel like he's liking it at school. He's really finding his place. He's, you know, enjoying his time with his friends, but also like having an activity that he really enjoys. But then Mal kind of like snaps him back into it of like, no, we're supposed to be evil. Like, don't do that. And then she tricks Ben into eating the cookie because he's like, no, I don't eat before games. And she's like, oh, I guess you hate me then. And he's like, okay, yeah, no, I don't hate you. I'll eat this cookie. And then he literally instantly like falls in love with her. And he's like a little too in love. It's like he went from like, yeah, I'll hang out with this person to Heath Ledger on the bleachers of 10 Things I Hate About You in like 45 seconds. We cut to the game where you'll see the horse. They win in the last second, and then Ben steals the microphone and admits he's in love with Mal, and his current girlfriend Audrey's like, what the heck? And we get a song, which was introed by Doug. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Didn't love that. Just
he's the band leader.
Yeah.
That's why that happened.
Just say 1, 2, 3, 4, or just say 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. It's just a little like, where's this coming from? You're a white dude, Doug. And then the song was Did I Mention? And then Audrey then gets with Chad. Evie is sad because now Chad doesn't want to be with her. And then Jay wins MVP. So they have this like song of like, did I mention I'm in love with you? That's not the song. That's just my song. I actually don't remember how the song goes.
None of the songs are like, wow, I'm going to like be singing this later, but they're all like
I had
serviceable.
very much had Rotten to the Core stuck in my head, but it's only
they
that
also
line.
reprise it. They also reprise it like 4 times through the movie, so you hear it a bunch.
Yeah, anytime I have like an Apple Core, I am rotten to the core, rotten to the core. I mean, every time. That's just part of being Gen Z, like me.
Sure,
Thanks.
sure.
Okay, then Chad tries to get Evie expelled because she wasn't like helping him anymore. Like whatever, I don't know. They had some weird shit go down, and then she passes on her own. She got a B+, and she like goes to Doug, and she's like, "Oh my god, look at what I did!" And they like have this cute little heart to heart, and you're like, "Okay, like each other." And Mal then is like, "Okay, I'll go on a date with you, Ben." Like, fine. So she's getting ready for her date. Evie's helping her out, and Evie and Mal have this heart to heart about their relationship with their moms and how they like don't want to disappoint them, but how they still want to be their own people. And it was a really nice, like, that was a nice addition to the story, I thought. For the date, he picks her up on a motorcycle. They ride to the forest. He set up a picnic in the park where we have the strawberries, and they talk about not doing what their parents did. So they have this conversation of like, Ben is like, my parents banned all the villains. I don't want to be like that. And Mal's like, my mom is a villain. I don't want to be like that. He like goes for a swim, and she sings this kind of like love ballad called If Only, because she's starting to develop feelings for him. And then at the end of the song, he's gone, and she's like, Ben, where are you? She jumps in the water. Can't swim. Why are you jumping in?
Oh my God. That scene made me so angry. It looked ridiculous when she went into the water.
Can't swim. Why are you jumping in? Just scream on the sides, my girl.
It was like the most clunky. I just could not believe that they kept that in the movie or that they didn't reshoot it again because it just looked ridiculous. Yeah. The whole thing.
I wish she would have fallen. I would have rather taken a fall like Ben. She likes running and like trips on a like and then falls. But her act like going in on her
instead
own.
She's like drowning in 2 feet of water, and then he like comes and saves her before she's really actually like in trouble. Yeah. Like it was just so stupid.
Yeah, didn't love that. So he saves her in the water, and everything is fine.
Well, and then there was something that happened here, and I was like, is this gonna come back? And it never did, which was he pulls this like glowing rock out of the water and he says, hey, throw this into the water and make a wish. And she just sort of chucks it. And so like, we don't know if she actually made a wish, and it literally never comes back.
That's funny.
Oh,
no. I'm literally just saying that's funny.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you were saying it's funny because like I missed something when it did come back.
No.
Yeah. I was like, why did they even bother with this?
I wonder if it like comes back in the second movie or something. But I do have to say the way she chucked it into the water was so funny. And maybe it was just trying to be like a throwaway thing because she's like, oh, I don't want your gift because I actually like you now and I don't know what to do with it. But
maybe it was weird.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
It's possible there was like something about it that got cut or something like that. But yeah, it felt very like unresolved.
Yeah. Then after their date, we come back to school. All of the villains see their parents on Zoom because they can't come to Family Day. And Family Day is the day before coronation. So they're Zooming with their parents. And it was, funny. And then she decides she's going to break the love spell. She's like, I can't do this. I don't want him to like, but she decides. And then they all kind of contemplate if going back is what they actually want to do. And they like have this like, oh, well, we kind of like it here. And then this is my least favorite part of the movie so far. But then we get a cappella version of Be Our Guest.
You didn't like that?
I hated it. As I'm going through this, Val, I gave this movie an 8.5, and I feel like there's so many things I'm mentioning that I'm like, man, I rated that too high. I feel like I should have given this an 8. I'm changing my answer to an 8.
Okay.
I really hated the Be Our Guest. I don't know what it was. I just like the whole time I was like, ew. And Val will probably never cut my face into a TikTok of what I just did, but you can only imagine what I just did.
You never know.
I was just like, I did not like it. And then we're at Family Day and we're playing croquet because Dove Cameron Mal has now met Ben's parents, Beauty and the Beast, which is their names. She meets Sleeping Beauty's mom. So it's not Sleeping Beauty. She meets Sleeping Beauty's mom, who's Audrey's grandma. And she's not old, but old. And she's, like, you're Maleficent. You're the reason. She gets so mad. And she's like, you suck. Why are you here? Go home. We got rid of the villains. And maybe I wrote down the wrong name, but I wrote Chad sticks up to them and then they push back.
Chad gets in their face. Yeah. And then Evie squirts him with like the sleeping potion. Mm-hmm. And then everyone kind of like piles on and Ben's trying to like break it up and it's just a mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. And then Doug even betrays them. Doug's even like, oh man, oh shoot. And then so does Jane. And so like all of these people are like going against them, being like, yeah, actually you're evil. And everyone's mean.
Jane pulled a Katie in Mean Girls like act 2 where she like was dressing exactly like Audrey and like.
Yeah. And then was like, you suck.
Yeah. It was very interesting.
And so then they decide, you know what? Everyone's being mean to us now. We actually take everything back. We want to get the wand and we want to go home. So they go back to their original plan. And she still decides to get rid of the love potion. So she makes a brownie for him to eat.
One thing we need to mention is that Jane is being a bee. And so Mal undoes the spell that like made her hair pretty. And so she goes back to looking like a living Kit doll from American Girl Dolls. And she's very upset about that.
Yes.
That is important.
Mm-hmm. And so we are on our way to coronation. Mal is riding in the carriage with Ben. And she
looks beautiful.
She looks gorgeous. She gives him the brownie and she's like, hey, I got you this so that you have carbs for later. And he's like, oh, I don't need this. And he's like, oh, is this going to undo the love potion? And she looks at him.
No, he said, I do need it. He ate it right then.
Oh.
And she like got upset because she was like, oh no, he ate it too soon.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, because this is going to undo it. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, oh, yeah, I knew the whole time the enchanted lake washed away the love potion when we were on our first date. And so since the first date, he like hasn't been faking. He hasn't been faking it. He does like her and he likes spending time with her. But it's interesting because you're like, oh, wow, you know, he actually knew this whole time.
And he asked her after they got out of the lake, I think. He said, I told you I loved you. Like, how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I don't know if I even know what love is or something like that. And he was like, well, maybe I can teach you. And I feel like that happened after
he was already
the potion wore off. So he really did love her.
Whoa. It's real. Then we're at coronation and Mal freezes when it's her turn to grab the wand. The wand is out in the open. It's ready to be grabbed. And then someone grabs it and there's a hand. And I wrote, she grabs it. But then I wrote, but I don't know if it was her. And whoever has the wand, the barrier for the villain's land is broken. So Maleficent transfers over with her staff to the coronation. And it turns out that Jane is the one who opened it up because she wanted the wand. She didn't know how to control it. She was all around. Then Mal grabs the wand from her. And
Jane grabbed the wand because she wanted to be pretty again, by the way. That was why she did.
That's the only reason. And then Mal grabs it from her and Ben's trying to like talk her out of it. He's like, you want to be good and she wants to be good. And she like talks about all the good things like in her life and being there. And she's like, okay, like I don't want to take the wand back. Like I want to be good. But then Maleficent shows up and freezes everyone. My second least favorite part about this movie, but it is the number one spot in my least favorite part of things in this movie. And then Mal kind of like sticks up to her mom and she talks about love and she talks about all of these things to like get her mom to like kind of not be a turd. And she gets the wand out of her hand, but then she turns into Dragon Maleficent. And Jay tries to like protect her from the dragon and like this and that. And everyone's still frozen. So it's literally just like the 4 villain kids against Maleficent. Evie uses the magic mirror to distract her. Mal does a spell from the spell book that is like gonna shrink to the size of your heart or whatever it is. So then the dragon shrinks all the way down to the size of a lizard because that's how big her heart is. And a fairy godmother unfroze during that once her heart she shrunk down, and so she unfreezes everyone with the wand, and then everyone's happy. Maleficent is a tiny lizard, and so someone almost like killed her, stepped on her or something, and she's like, hey, that's my mom. And so they like kind of like put like a jar over the top of her. Audrey and Mal kind of like bow at one another and they like make amends, and then everyone's happy and we have a dance party to the song Set It Off, which I didn't love. But then we get a Mal turning around and she's like, you thought this was the end of the story? And their eyes turn green. She's like, and then we get 2 more Descendants movies out of it. And that's the story.
And we get to see Doug do good dance moves.
Doug do dance.
Doug do dance.
Doug do dance. He did do good dance moves. You are right, pal.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
It's a fun movie. There's a lot that we didn't mention that's like funny in there. And it's because they wrote the movie and I didn't. So go watch it.
Yeah. I did write at one point, lol, Kristen Chenoweth is so funny. She just is. She's so funny.
Fantastic. In the Don't You Want to Be Evil song, her dancing and her facial expressions and her like intonations and her it's just so good. Yeah.
It was very fun to see her get to play a villain.
Yeah.
Because she, like Wicked is interesting because like she's not the villain, but she kind of is you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit more nuanced. Whereas in this one, it's just like flat out like bad guy. And it's just, she's just chewing up the scenery. She's having a good time.
Yeah.
Cool. I am ready.
Let's do it.
Let us wave our magic wands.
Ooh, to bingo.
And we are here.
We're here.
Would you like to begin?
Sure. One hit wonder song.
No, I don't think so.
No, because there's 3 more movies. There's 2 more movies.
Right.
Although, no, because I was like, oh, there's a Shawn Mendes song, but he's not a one-hit wonder.
No. Breaking the fourth wall or looking into the camera.
Kristin Chenoweth did a lot.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, Dove Cameron does it at the end too.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot I said that. I just said that. Holiday themed.
Coronation Day.
Release of the Villains Day.
Clunky metaphor. So I thought that this had two very, very clear metaphors. One is sort of like the idea of like redlining kind of, and like the effects. So like basically like if you put a group of people in a place and give them no resources and villainize them, then you can use the fact that they are unsocialized and don't know how to exist in your society as a reason to continue to keep them out of your society.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it, you know, there's that whole thing where like they get into a huge fight at the family day.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of discussion around that kind of idea, which is like, they shouldn't be here. They don't deserve to be here. They don't know how to be here, you know, all of these things. And it's like, yeah, but that's because they were given no opportunity to like be here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they had no resources, no education, nothing.
I mean, it's literally
so like,
Shrek.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same idea as saying like, you know, I don't want this like person who is from like a quote unquote bad neighborhood, like at my school because they wear different clothes than I do, talk differently than I do. They don't know how to exist in this world. And it's like, yeah, because you've kept them out of the world to the point where of course they don't know, because for generations, no one has known. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing. And then the other one is that conversation between Evie and Mal about their moms is absolutely like, I mean, if these villain moms are not just flat out narcissistic moms, like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the real world, that's just a narcissist, right? Yeah. It was very clear to me that that was that. And it was interesting too, because this is like probably about 5 years before like TikTok got all over the, like, you have a narcissistic parent if, you know, blah, 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 TikTok. So it was just kind of interesting to me. So those are the two metaphors that I saw.
Nice. Those are good. And I don't see them. That's why I give this box to you. Parents who just don't get it. Oh,
yeah. I would say so.
A lot of parents in this movie don't get it.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast don't get it. Obviously, the villain parents don't get it. Cool non-parent adult. No. All the adults are adults.
Yeah.
Like they're not like on their side.
Yeah, the security guard's not cool enough.
No.
Someone too famous for a TV movie. I'm arguing Kristin Chenoweth.
Yeah, no, 100%. Okay. I agree. I was going to say the same thing. Competition to resolve central problem.
Nope. Coronation to resolve central problem. A montage sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Where?
During one of her songs.
Oh, yeah.
Was it the song at the lake? I can't remember. There was a song that she sings. No, I think it was a different one where like she's reminiscing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's reminiscing about all the fun times that she's had.
Yeah.
And you just see a montage of everything. Cliche villains.
I looked at that was next. I was like, oh my God, it doesn't like, this is why we have that box.
This box should just be black.
Yeah.
Like just
about as cliche as it gets.
Yep.
Clothes or items you owned.
I mean, this is a hard one for that. I mean, I don't know. Did you see anything?
Not really. I did freshman year of high school, was a blonde, got cast in West Side Story. And my mom was like, let's dye your hair brown. And instead of buying brown hair dye, she bought black hair dye. And on Halloween, because we opened on November 1st, I was like handing out candy with like this black hair dye in my hair. But black hair dye is purple. And so the purple dyed my blonde hair purple and gray. And so we washed my hair out and I am sobbing. I am sobbing on Halloween. And so I have purple hair
Oh.
And so my mom went to Walgreens. They like closed like 5 minutes later. She had to buy permanent brown hair dye, and we dyed my hair brown that night. And then I had purple streaks in my hair for a month or two. But Ryan, everyone here knows Ryan, called me Purple Al for about maybe a year. So does that count?
The reason for this being that Mal has purple hair. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Why
Perfect.
not? Rotten Tomatoes, 40 to 60%. Ooh, okay. I'm going to guess that this is on the higher side. I'm going to go with 77.
Wrong. 90.
No way.
Yeah.
That is the highest, absolutely,
so.
that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Good for them. I don't know if it warrants a 90, but good for them.
Yeah. That's why I changed mine to an 80.
Right.
Happily Ever After.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
and
yes.
another movie.
Yes, and yeah. Almost Kissing. Oh, did you see something?
Two. There was one point, I think, when they were on their picnic where he kind of like wanted to lean in, and then like she pulled back a little bit, and then at the very end where they're like forehead to forehead, and they're like kind of about to, but then the fireworks go off.
Okay. This was another one where I was like, why are they not kissing?
Yeah, they should have.
You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make any sense to me at the end that they didn't kiss. Very similar to Teen Beach Movie 1.
Someone who became famous.
Many.
All of them.
Betraying of one's real friends or values. I don't actually think so.
They all stick together.
Right. And they also come around to like the good values.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if anything, their instinct is to betray their parents' values, which is not their real values.
Right.
It's like the ones that have been like forced upon them.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Right.
that. So no.
No.
Narrator.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Starts and ends. What's the point? Some might say, what's the point? And I'm one of those some.
Obviously bad special effects or stunts.
Y'all see that dragon?
So many.
Y'all see that dragon?
I mean, honestly, that I'll watch the dragon all day long if I never have to look at a zoomed out shot of like that hall just with like computer generated like people like just standing. I mean, it was so bad.
Yeah.
Also, during Evil Like Me, which is a very fun number, I kept getting distracted because the green screen work in that scene was so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Like, just film on a practical set. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It was very weird.
Very weird.
So, yes, for sure. X this one.
Yeah. Disney Channel star. All of them. They're all stars.
Mhm. Yeah, because of this.
Yeah.
If not other things.
Yeah.
Musical number.
Woo!
So many.
But not too many.
No.
Just enough.
Just enough. Mhm.
Yay. Magic!
Yay!
Yay!
It's fun when we get both of these.
Yeah, I like that one.
Someone says the title of the movie. I don't think so,
I don't
actually.
think so. Scooby Dude. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like, you could make arguments for some stuff, but I don't think so.
No.
The heroes create the problem. No, they do not.
Lead is a fish out of water. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the whole school. Belle, we did it. We got 2 bingos. Wee! And we got a new line today, which not new, but I just feel like we don't get it very often. But we have our diagonal starting in the bottom corner up. So we have magic, narrator, happily ever after, a montage sequence, and parents who just don't get it. And then we go down from parents who just don't get it, cliche villain, someone who became famous, musical number, and lead is a fish out of water.
Wow, those are both kind of unusual ones.
I'd say.
Nice.
Congrats to us. We win.
And with you.
And with your spirit. Yay. Well, Val, today's game is called I'm a Descendant of, and you and I are going to talk about our lineage.
Okay.
So we are descendants of who, and that is our game today. So Val, would you like to go first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So just like kind of like ancestry.com type of thing.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. So my mom is Moroccan, where she was born in Morocco, but that branch of my family is actually from Portugal originally. As one might or might not know, Jews get forced out of their homes a lot. And so over the course of my family's history, they were forced out of Portugal, and then they were eventually forced out of Morocco. And that is how my mom ended up in the US eventually. And my dad is more of a mutt, but his family has been, some parts of the family have been in the US for quite a while. Like I have one descendant, or I am descended from someone who was like a Revolutionary War hero, which is kind of cool. And I have another ancestor who was a drummer in the Civil War.
Whoa.
Yeah. So some cool people in my lineage, but I'm mostly English, Irish, and like a little bit of like German. But then my dad did one of those like crazy so my family's like very into genealogy. Like I have literally gone on family trips where like we have visited like a cemetery in like Cleveland or like in Canada one time. Like I can't tell you how many cemeteries I've been to to like visit a long gone ancestor. But my dad did this other DNA test where it like you can only do it along your like father's line, I guess, but it like can go back like thousands of years. And so like, and it'll tell you who you are like just minutely related to from thousands of years ago. And so like his, you know, like thousands of years ago ancestors are from like the Middle East, which I thought was very interesting. And one of the people that he found out he was like obviously very, very, very distantly related to is an Orthodox Jew from Skokie. And so my dad had lunch with this guy like a few times when he still lived in Chicago.
My God.
I know. I just thought that was so funny because like my dad is like the least Jewish person ever and ended up married to a Jewish person like kind of randomly, and then found out that he was like thousands of years distantly related somehow to an Orthodox Jewish guy who lived 20 minutes away. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so that's like a very high level description of my lineage. But yeah,
cool. Thanks for sharing, Val.
Thanks for asking.
No problem. My mom is like 100% Polish. She was born here. My babcia was born and raised in a part of Poland that is now Belarus. So it is no longer Poland after World War II. She was 12 years old when the war started. When she was taken to like a camp in Russia, and she recently did a speech where they like went through her whole life kind of. And I didn't realize, like in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, she went from like Poland to Russia. It was, you know, a couple hours, you know, it wasn't, because I know that she was on a train for 40 days. But then I saw a map and she went from Poland across all of Russia on a train. And that's like she was in a train car with 50 other people, one piece of bread for the whole car, like wild. And like, I won't go through her entire story. It's just fresh on my mind because of that. And then I also sat down with her a couple months ago and asked her all of these kind of similar questions that she talked about, and have a full hour and 20-minute recording of her talking about
Good.
it.
I was just going to say, I hope you recorded that. That's great.
So we have hers recorded, but mine was a little bit more intimate because she was so nervous. She talked in front of 100 people. She's never done that before. It was so cute, but she's definitely very nervous. So I'm glad I have a more intimate, just me and her version of that. My Judge was also from a part of Poland that I believe is also Belarus, but maybe it's like kind of close to the Poland border. And he was, you know, I don't really know his story very, very well, but like went through the war, was escaped the Polish army, like escaped to America. All this stuff was crazy. Wow. They ended up in Chicago. So my mom was like born in the suburbs, raised in the suburbs, still in the suburbs. And then my dad, I know that my one grandpa's from Scotland. So I have Scottish in me. And I think everyone here knows that I'm not a natural redhead. So sorry to the Scottish redheads. But my one grandpa was from Scotland. And then I don't know anything else about my other grandparents and like where they came from. So one Christmas, I got my dad 23andMe because I wanted to find out like that lineage. Sure. And he sent me like the login to check it out. And he's like, I don't remember the password. And so I never found out. I do not know. So I just say that I'm Scottish and Texan on my dad's side.
That's so funny.
Because I don't know. But it is very cool knowing so much about like my mom's side of the family and just kind of like that story.
That's really cool.
But
my mom refused to. I did record my dad, and I have hours of like my dad's life story, and which he did with his parents. Cool. So like we have all this stuff, which is really cool. But my mom refuses to do it. And my grandparent, I never met my mom's dad because he was much older than my grandma, and he died before I was born. And my grandma I only met twice, and she didn't speak English. Oh wow! So we didn't have a relationship. Yeah. And so like there wasn't really anyone to ask. So my sister is like my best resource, but like I only see her, once a year. Yeah. And she doesn't know everything. So yeah, I wish that I had more information, but like she and I were actually going through the process. We ended up not being able to do it, but we were trying to get passports for Portugal because of our ancestry. And one of the things that we had to do was we had to like prove that our family had like come from Portugal and then been in Morocco. And one of the things that I learned through that process was that there are streets in the neighborhood in Rabat where they lived in Morocco that are named after each of my grandparents' last names. Yeah. And like they lived in sort of like a Jewish quarter or whatever. And like my grandfather like was like a really influential person. Basically like I think their house was like attached to or right next to the synagogue. And like they were the ones who like took the Torah like with them when they left. Like they were responsible, like their family was responsible for like their synagogue's Torah, which is like a huge deal. Wow. And so stuff like that. So it was really interesting to like learn that stuff. I just wish my mom would like talk more about it, but I think she was just so traumatized by the whole thing that she just can't. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes that stuff you block it out and she's like, I don't even remember.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, thanks for sharing, Val.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
I love learning about you.
I love talking about myself, so. So thanks for asking me back. Val, this has been so great. I loved Descendants. So great. And more importantly, I love you.
Same exact thing. I really enjoyed this movie, which was refreshing. We've had a few good ones, but definitely nice to have.
I think we might have a stretch of a couple rough ones, so we'll see what goes
We'll see. We'll see. We were pleasantly surprised by one of the more recent ones, so hopefully, or at least I was, I think. Yes. So hopefully we'll be okay.
Val, what are we watching next week?
We are watching Invisible Sister.
I'm sure my sister wishes that I was invisible sometimes, so can't wait.
I'm very interested to see what this is about. So we'll see you there.
Yeah. All right, Val, have a good rest of your until I see you next.
It's right back at you.
Bye, Val.
Bye, Al. This podcast was produced by me.
And me.
And it was edited by me.
The music was composed by Michael McNally.
You can find us online at thetridentnetwork.com/dcommentaries-pod.
And you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at dcommentaries.
Dcommentaries is a part of the Trident Network. To learn more about our videos, live shows, and other podcasts, please visit thetridentnetwork.com.
Disney Channel original movies.
Damn it, Allie.